TLS and Chaz. This is longtime listener, first-time caller, Chip Douglas calling from the beautiful North Shore of Oahu. Just calling to make a surf film recommendation for all of your listeners. I just watched this film. I've actually watched it 3 times now. And I think it's the best surf film I've ever seen, at least since the Endless Summer. And part of me wants to, always give Endless Summer the nod because such an amazing film that, is really the first to capture the true essence of being a surfer and being one that, travels for waves and all that. But aside from that one, this is the best surf film ever made, in my opinion. And it's free. It's on YouTube. And I just want to clarify, I'm not plugging this. I have zero involvement of making this film. I don't know anyone who made it or anyone in it. I was just so blown away. I had to call and share it. The film is called Tension 11. And it's a bodyboarding film. I'm not a bodyboarder. I'm a surfer. But I know what a good wave looks like. I know what skilled wave riding looks like. And these are the heaviest, most technically challenging, consequential waves on Earth. And they're being ridden by the best wave riders, best wave riding that's being done basically right now on Earth. It's unbelievable. The action is incredible. The music's awesome. The skits are hilarious. The fact that these guys aren't making any money, they're just tradesmen doing it for the love, risking their lives. It's just unbelievable, and it's the best surf film I think I've ever seen. Can't recommend it enough. Hope you guys watch it. Cheers.
Best surf film I've ever seen.
I mean, he had me. I was thinking, okay, boring when he was going, right? I was like, your taste is fine, whatever. I've seen, we can all argue about, blah, blah, blah. Dropping a bodyboard film, I'm in. Intrigued, interested, can't wait to watch it.
I did watch the first 5 minutes because I really wanted to. It was a big sales pitch.
Yeah.
I'm like, can this possibly be true?
And
I got to say, 5 minutes in, I'm sold.
Man, see, okay. Can we spend a few minutes talking about our bodyboarding brethren and sisters?
I think we should spend a lot of time talking about him.
Okay. Question 1 for you. Do you feel bad for the making fun of that you harbored in your heart and or derogatory things that came out of your mouth about our brethren throughout your, formative years? Seeing now that very clearly, without dispute, boogie boarders are at the apex of cool when it comes to the surf world, surf culture.
I do not feel bad about it, but I've come to the same conclusion you have.
I mean, they are, as caller touched upon, do it purely for the love. Nobody's out there making big money booging. They go hardcore, like way more hardcore. They're the ones pioneering the craziest spots. And they just seem, For example, went down to the Seaside Market the other day. Dude who works there, I had my I hate surfing hat on, and he was like, man, that's good. Like, he's a real surfy looking kid, right? And he said, anytime, any kind of surfer people come in to the Seaside Market, which is often, obviously, Seaside Market, the other cash register people, cashiers, is that what they're called? Clerks.
Yes.
What are they called? Cashiers at a grocery store?
Cashier is fine.
Okay. The other cashiers, there's your people. And he's like, those aren't my people. I hate them all. And then he let it slip, and I mostly boogie board. And I was like, yes, you are core lord. Brought him an I hate surfing hat.
The older I get, the more I'm gravitating towards less is more. And I feel, and for the reasons, if it's not obvious, like overstimulation makes it easy to feel the stimulation, but only on the surface level. If you have 1,000 different stimuli, you can't deeply process any one of them. So when it comes to cooking, fewer ingredients, high quality ingredients, fewer ingredients I like better. When it comes to surfboard design, simple, subtle curves tend to work best. And through this rationale, I wonder if bodyboarders are the more enlightened wave riders, because not as much as body surfers who are just with the wave in the ocean, but certainly closer to the source than us who are standing up.
Their whole torso and legs are in the source, touching the source. But okay, so here you go though, because we're walking down this primrose path, right? At the end, both you and I will be bodyboarders, except can you picture, like, I still harbor some deep problem in my heart because I cannot picture myself walking down the stairs to go surf with a boog underarm, flippers in hand. I would mock myself, even though I know they're cooler. I know now it's been established they're closer to the source. And they also have the best surf movie ever made. I know all those things. So why can't I picture myself?
You're going to be on your deathbed and you're going to look back and you're going to realize the biggest enemy in your life was your ego.
Okay, so that's probably true, isn't it?
Everything that you've struggled with, things that prevented you from achieving your goals, all ego driven.
Would the wife leave me? I think she would leave me if I started bodyboarding.
So she needs to address her own ego issues.
The other day,
and through it, you can grow together and become more enlightened as a couple.
Okay, I'm gonna put this past her because, as you know, remember my ankle busted, blah blah blah. I took the pypo down. I thought this is cool, right? This is like clearly I'm not into it. I'm not like flashing around. I'm not a pypo guy. I don't have anything other than, and it was warm then too. So I think I was trunking it and my pypo. It's not like I was in a wetsuit on my pypo. Got the pypo from Shea Soma, who makes pypos, and he told me it was fun. Da 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 da. This is the perfect time to take it out. Wife and daughter mocked me derisively, and I was like, "Why are you? I can't surf. I might as well go try this." What a barn! Look at him, like mocking me, and that was with the pypo. So I can't imagine if I got serious. If I was wetsuited, fins in hand, boog underarm, going down.
So they're mocking. Where do you think they got that from? Who did they learn that behavior from? You're now getting a taste of your own medicine. They were completely neutral, kind-hearted, people prior. And then you infuse this style of humor into them. They appreciated it. And now they saw their opportunity.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Chickens coming home to roost. But okay, now I turn it over to you. Could you picture yourself going on a listener trip? And wow, David Lee Scales' board bag is half the size of ours. Huh. And then you get there and you unzip a boogie.
I am confronted with the same ego that you are. So all the stumbling blocks I have are related to that. But if I can say for a matter of fact, I remember my early bodyboarding rides from I started bodyboarding before I learned how to surf. I remember those rides on that bodyboard better than I remember my early stand-up surf experiences. And specifically, I remember me and my cousin who were learning it together. We learned that we'd take off on whitewash, but the ultimate thing was to waterfall down another whitewash in front of you. Like you're on the bigger wave, so it's going faster and there's a wave in front of you and you're approaching and you're like, I think I'm going to make it. And you go down the waterfall of that smaller wave in front of you. I experienced more jubilation from doing that, and I can remember it clearly, than almost any wave that I've surfed in the past 30 years standing up.
Yeah.
So the reason, and I think this is also related to ego, the reason that was so fun to me was there was zero ego involved. I wasn't thinking about anybody watching me. I wasn't looking at another bodyboarder who had just done a flip out the back. It was just me doing it for the fun of it. Once I started standing up, then there became this, spectrum that I'm operating on of like, am I getting better? How am I compared to that person? All of that jaded the experience. So I think that bodyboarders as a whole, even the adult ones, they got shamed. All the ego got shamed out of them from a very early age because of the abuse that you and I leveled on them. They actually don't even have any ego anymore because it just got shamed out of them. And now they just go out and play and they have more fun than any of us.
I mean, there is a crew of like 70-year-old, 65, 70-year-old women who go down to, I can't remember, Pillbox Beach, whatever, in Solana. And I see them there. Anytime I'm there in the morning, they're there. It's like their club, right? And they're getting their boog on and they come all the way in, right? They ride the whitewash all the way to the dry sand, get up, go back and do it again. Guaranteed they are more enlightened than me, having more fun than me, probably more successful, probably richer. Every part of their life is better.
I think it really says something. I think we started doing that, and ultimately we will regress back to doing that later in life. You know, if you surf long enough, eventually you can't stand up. And I think that we should just be doing it all along. Now, I think that different waves call for different equipment.
Of course.
But the thing is, you and I need to add the bodyboard to our quiver and embrace the usage of it when it's appropriate.
When are you going to test this out?
So I've thought about that. I've been testing it out in the last year. As I've been introducing Austin to the water, he and I take a bodyboard out for him to ride, and I'll push him into waves or I'll ride on waves and he'll hang onto my neck on my back. So I've already been slowly indoctrinating it without any of the, without the ego. Because it's like, oh, I'm doing it for him, so I don't have to feel bad about this.
Okay, so you're already knee deep in your journey.
I'm already halfway there.
Man, I envy you. So the problem for me is I feel the right wave for a boog is like a barreling slabby kind of thing, right?
Shore break. That's what I need to find. Okay, so I can take my okay, I got a wave now because I was thinking I can't go 0 to 100 right away. I got no boogie skills. I can't go find a shallow barreling slab and just start booging it. Shore break is what I can do. Yeah, shore break, it doesn't have to be necessarily right on shore, but if it's a day that's small and you're looking at it going, I don't think I want to surf. Often on those days, you see a little barreling wave that's only 1 foot big. And it's maybe you could body surf it or you could bodyboard it. And or days that are like messy but big, like where then you could just go straight to a shore break spot and go pack closeout barrels. That's fun. And when you do, to our earlier points, I think you'll have more fun than if the waves were 3 foot and rippable on your shortboard. Okay, I'm going to test this out. What if this show becomes a bodyboarding show? I'd be okay with it. I think again, horses for courses. If it opens up the aperture of what we talk about and bodyboarding becomes part of it, I think it's a more interesting show. One last question here. Is the bodyboard as is today, is that like the peak belly riding experience thing, right? So I'm talking Pipo, I'm talking surf mat, but is the bodyboard, is that like, yeah, that's where you go. Surf mat's fun, that's its own thing. Pipo's fun, that's its own thing. Bodyboarding is specifically this. I haven't been paying attention long enough to fully answer it, but from my perspective, it looks like the bodyboard's the most technical craft. Like the surf mat, you can go faster on, but you're not going to be able to maneuver it as sharply. And the Pipo, I think, has limitations. The bodyboard allows them to like knife into slabs, navigate the steps, and still maintain speed and control and get blown out and do an air or something. You know what? I just had a realization. There's a bodyboarder right now, a cool bodyboarder listening right now who's thinking, you kooks, stay away. Who do you think you are? Like gracing the bodyboard world with your presence. We don't want you. We don't need you. We didn't ask for you. Leave it alone. They got to blame Tension 11. Yeah. we're just subject to the beauty of Tension 11. It's not our fault. Yeah. Sorry about it. We're victims. So Tension 11, the listener putting it second in line after Endless Summer, or maybe even first, I think is a misstep. It's more Jackass than it is Endless Summer. Okay. So I got 5 minutes in, and it's incredible production quality. Like it is, whoever made it probably works in professional film production. It's that well made, that well shot, that well edited, graphics, all of it. It's incredible. How many views did it have? Not that many. It was like 70,000. And so it's 11 days old and it has 72,000 views. 11 days. Okay, so that's solid. I mean, it's the amount of work that went into this. It's super expensive. So somebody did it purely for the love, because clearly there was or maybe not clearly, maybe the bodyboard industry is slowly and quietly become robust. So the film's called Tension 11. I think it's actually the 11th in a series because part of the opening segment was referencing work done in the past and the story arc of the protagonist. And it's like he had successful bodyboard films in the past. It looks like he's gotten into podcasting. He's like super fit, and he was on American Ninja Warrior.
Ooh.
Maybe not American, maybe Australian Ninja Warrior, if there is one. Because the host was speaking with an Australian accent in the clip that they showed. Anyways, he was on the Ninja Warrior thing. He's super fit. He has a podcast. So it seems like he's developed into somewhat of a celebrity based on bodyboarding as the origin story, and then is coming back and making another sequel to the film with this fame. And it looks like he's setting up the storyline to be about his kids. Because he's like, I spawned these kids. They got into the same lifestyle I'm in. But it's a lot of Jackass style stunts that they're doing.
Okay. Well, I'm hooked.
But with that Jackass style stunt, if you're into wave riding, it makes sense that the next logical step would be to go surf slabs, like Cyclops or whatever those crazy slabs are in Australia. That's what a lot of the footage is. And they're the guys who are best equipped to do it. So,
okay. Well, thanks, caller.
Tension 11. Now, I have a question for you. Do you ever wish that you were born in Australia?
No.
Like as an Australian?
I fully did. So I've dealt with this. I think I brought it up before on the show. I've dealt with this my whole entire life. Was, I think, 6, 7. Spent my year 6 and year 7 in Papua New Guinea, and a lot of Australians there, of course. And I just wanted to be an Australian so bad. I wanted to be them so bad. And so I've done this, I feel like I actually am, having wanted it so bad as a kid, I feel I am half Australian at this point. Okay. I've willed it to be, but I don't want to live always in Australia. So I'm an Australian abroad is how I feel.
I watched the video and I'm like, they're having way more fun than we are.
Yeah.
The
problem with Australia is what would happen, what I would fear would happen to not only myself, but children, is that it's all too good, right? They have a government safety net kind of socialist thing. It feels like you just make $100,000 a year by being Australian. Like nobody that I know, even when they're down and out, their down and out is like, how... My down and out is like rough. I'm like having to skip meals. You're down and out. You're just fine. Where everything becomes too easy, and then you never leave Australia, and you're kind of big in Australia, but you know, which I guess that's my own hang up, is wanting more than that. I should just be happy with, big deal in Australia, having fun in Australia.
When I was watching it, thinking, kind of wish I was an Australian. I then had a follow up thought that was, but not as much as I wish I was a New Zealander.
Yeah, man.
I think that's the lifestyle.
How envious were you of Luke Cederman?
Anybody I've ever met from New Zealand.
Yeah.
I'm like, they've kind of got a panache, he's smarter, he's wittier. But then other people I've met, I'm like, they're more sophisticated. They seem smarter. Might just be the accent.
Man. And they've done a real good job. I feel that they're all nice and kind. But I guarantee that emigrating to New Zealand must be one of the hardest things on earth.
Yeah,
I bet they put in so many hoops and jumps, and that it's just virtually impossible to become a New Zealander yourself.
Final thought as it relates to the call: Endless Summer 1 or Endless Summer 2? Do you have a favorite?
For me?
Yeah.
I mean, Endless Summer 1. Nothing against Pat O'Connell and Robert Wingnut. I wanted to like Endless Summer 2, and I like Endless Summer 2 at this point, kind of like a schlocky thing, which it's kind of, Bruce Brown style anyway, is to be schlocky. But Endless Summer 1 just got that hook in deep young.
So you saw 1 before you saw 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I saw Endless Summer 2 first. And so for me, I feel like that's seared a little bit more into my DNA.
I understand. Makes sense. I drove a solid, I think, 3 hours each way to go see Endless Summer 2 in the theater.
No way.
Yeah.
I think I could say objectively, probably Endless Summer 1 is the superior film, and I understand why it reigns supreme, and it's probably blasphemous to even say part 2, but just for me personally, I feel like part 2 has a sweet spot.
Yeah, I get it.
In my heart. Well, hey, we got a bunch of kind of listener stuff and to go over, but in surf news, the segment that actually got longer this week, believe it or not.
Wow. Look at that.
So 2 stories that fall under the banner of self-imposed bureaucracy in surfing. The WSL sues Pedro Scooby, and the other one is the Team USA belted with heavy fine after Lil Surfer flips bird towards judge at World Junior Surfing Champs.
Salacious.
I know. So let's start with that story. The USA getting a fine after a athlete flips off the judges. What's the backstory?
Thankfully, there's a new one up today about this story. This story has developed.
Okay, what's the development and what's the story? What's the development?
Okay, so the story is a boy under 16 by the name of Mackay Castle apparently made rude and derogatory gestures to the judges during his round 4 heat at the International Surfing Association's World Championships in Peru, right? That's where it is.
I think so.
And so I was sent this by Negatron. ISA released a statement about Mackay Castle, derogatory gestures, unsporting conduct, Team USA hit with a $4,000 fine. Negatron said, I couldn't be bothered actually looking at the heat to find it's so bad. I can't do it. He sent it to me. I couldn't do it either. I was like, I can't. There's no way I'm watching. I'm going to scrub this to find the moment where he did his derogatory gesture. I'm just going to assume he flipped him off, right? What else do you do? There's this one, which, do you know what that's called?
I have no idea.
It's the bras de something. It has a French word.
So the gesture that Chaz is doing for those listeners who aren't watching is you use both arms in full motion. One lays horizontal and the other one comes up like an uppercut under the horizontal one.
Yeah, so it's called the bras. Hold on. I'm gonna get you the actual name here because I feel listeners will appreciate knowing this is called the here we go. Bras, BRAS de Honneur. D''Honneur is what that's called.
Which translates to?
I don't know. Arm is bras, I think. So the arm of honor, I guess?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. In any case, so I was thinking bird, maybe that one, probably bird. We're just going to leave it there. Thankfully, Duke Surf, the website Duke Surf, which is Duke Surf out of Peru or?
I thought it was Brazil.
It's Spanish, not Portuguese.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't know.
Yeah. But Duke Surf will undig some good stuff or dig up some good stuff. Duke Surf had the shot, had the image itself. Double birds, 2 birds toward the judges. So Team USA, I guess, lucky to escape with a $4,000 fine instead of an $8,000 fine, $4,000 per bird. But then I also wondered, maybe in the rule book, the fine is $2,000 per bird. So maybe they got him $4,000, $2,000 each bird.
Wonder if it has a duration because he did it quick. It was he only flashed it for like a second and then he kicked out.
The thing about this story I feel that was most weird to me, you know, when minors commit minor infractions, right?
Yeah.
The press will never or very rarely name, like it'll just be, you know, a 16-year-old boy was caught, you know, racing his e-bike on the sidewalk the other day. Police, you know, gave him a ticket, whatever. They don't say a 16-year-old boy named John Smith who goes to elementary school down at blah, blah, right? Yeah. This 16-year-old kid, Mackay Castle, his name, Mackay Castle, was bold and loud in the press statement. And I was like, it seems kind of weirdly malicious. Like, I get if he's over 18 or whatever, but to really name and shame a 16-year-old boy seemed unnecessary. Like, they could have said the same thing, a surfer, because the team got the fine anyway. It wasn't he didn't get the fine. Yeah. So they could have said a Team USA surfer did this, and then people could have found Mackay Castle if they were curious as to who it was. But it seemed over the top and vindictive to name and shame him like multiple times in their press release.
Funnily, that's the exact thought I had 5 minutes ago when you said his name bold and loud at the beginning of this segment. I was like, wow, I don't know, are we allowed to call him out? But I guess if it's printed everywhere else, I guess we call him out.
I mean,
but I think it's a reflection of surfing is always way behind on best practices.
Yeah.
Because I think it is a small community and we feel like it's insular. And so we're just having a private conversation.
But the thing is, too, like, to make a big deal out of it, to make a big old deal and to make a press release and, like, the goofy thing, this is why the ISA, why I cannot be bothered watching a heat. I can't believe anyone goes. Somehow, World Surf League is hard enough to take a lot of their bull roar, right? But it's in the world of surfing. ISA seems like it's a whole other world. It's bizarro world, and there's a whole different professional surf thing that happens over there that's just bizarro. Like, I don't know if it's a reflection of that Fernando is just a weirdo. And I mean, he clearly looks like a weirdo. He dresses like a weirdo, all this. But is he just a weirdo? And so this is because, like, why make such a big deal about flipping off the judges anyway? Who cares?
So I have felt that way that you're talking about. And I think you can attribute all of it towards Fernando wanting to professionalize surfing. And I think with the end goal of getting into the Olympics, obviously.
But professionalizing internationally, because the WSL is professional surfing, and it's a professional surfing that, even though it's kooky from time to time, it's a professional surfing I understand. ISA, I look at it and I'm like, it's like me trying to watch multiple legs of the Tour de France. Not that the Tour de France is kooky. It's just foreign to me.
No, but he's trying to professionalize it to the standards of other world recognized Olympic style sports. And so there's a certain amount of decorum that you have to live by. Everybody's going to be wearing the same uniform when they arrive to the beach, all that sort of thing.
So a European standard is what I hear you saying.
Maybe, yeah. So to you and I, obviously it's disconnected from surfing itself. And I think that when the WSL has actually gotten it right for us, the fan, is when they lean into the opposite thing. Like a few years ago, Mason Ho gets blown out of a wave during a Pipe Masters event and he grabs his crotch, and does a claim to the camera. We love that because it's that's the way that he was feeling. That the amount of exaltation he felt getting spit out of the wave at Pipeline was uncontrollable, and that's how he chose to express himself. And we like that Mason expresses himself. And the WSL, there's a time, or lots of times throughout their history, where they would never play that clip again. They would almost try to scrub it, But then in that moment, I remember for that specific wave, they did play it again and they laughed at it. And then they put it on Instagram later and everybody applauded it. And so I think surfing isn't professional and it is very unique from all other sports. And so leaning into those uniquenesses will actually help you to build the sport correctly, more authentically for sure. And the ISA is going the opposite direction through Fernando's guide. It is, I think, directly related to Fernando's guidance, trying to professionalize it. So the reason they made a press release, the reason they probably even released his name is to shame others into submission or to never allow, hey, don't do this. Otherwise you will get, fined and shamed publicly. But I think it is, personally, I think it's a square peg in the round hole.
Yeah. I mean, all ISA is, it's to me, and apparently people like it, or who knows if people like it, but apparently they continue to do world championship surfing, whatever. Apparently parents still send their kids to it, right? I mean, it can't be cheap. Like, none of these kids are, I'm sure none of the U16 kids have, full sponsorships down there to go surf in Peru. So parents are into it enough. It's enough of a going concern. But I don't get it. If my daughter said, hey, I just was down at the beach and saw an ISA comp. I saw them all in their uniforms. I saw them, the team, That's what I want to do. I'd say, nope, you are not going to do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There's better ways to use your time and there's better ways to use your surfing time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the other story is the WSL. So I apologize. I should have researched this a little bit more. I added it to my notes with the intention to go back and research it before we started and then lost it in my notes. But
I think there's a development here too.
Okay. So if you know about it, you could speak to it. I couldn't determine if they simply threatened to sue Pedro Scooby or if they actually filed a lawsuit.
It seems like they did not file a lawsuit. It seems like they began taking legal steps, right? They began the legal maneuvering. So they probably sent him like a certified letter or something like that, right? Like that, whatever because it's in Brazil too. So I don't know what the Brazil court rules are. They weren't suing Pedro here in America. They were suing him in Brazil for defamation.
So this was related to an incident earlier in the year where Pedro was unhappy with scores that they had given to, I think, Wesley Dantes, a fellow Brazilian, and went on Instagram.
At the Saquarema event.
Went on Instagram and then basically called out the WSL judges for being, I don't know if he used the term racist, but for being biased against Brazilians.
He said specifically, if I recall, that Wesley Dantes has a darker shade of brown or black or something. I can't remember what he actually said. And he's also unsponsored. And so for sure the judges are going to push through, I don't think he said the white. Yeah.
It was, sorry, I interrupted you and I didn't even have his name ready. The dude who's a regular footer from Australia. George Patar.
George Patar. So the assumption was George Patar, blonde, white, sponsored kid versus brown, unsponsored Brazilian kid. Racism, even though he didn't say racist directly.
Yeah, he all but said racist. And the reason why the WSL, I think, is taking action in this is because of Pedro's social media following. I think he has 6 million followers or something. So it created just a huge conversation, basically, that the WSL was probably feeling was entirely unjust.
But I read today that apparently they've settled. So I just
what does that mean?
That they came to an agreement that I'm sure, I don't know if I didn't read the story, so I didn't have time, but they came to some agreement. Either he pays a fine and or he publicly apologizes and says, I was wrong, the WSL is not racist or something.
So I just looked it up. He's 7.2 million followers, not 6. So way bigger than I don't even follow the guy. I just clicked follow. I want to know if money changed hands or if it's just an apology or public apology, because it sets a precedent for how this all proceeds.
Well, and it makes me think though that Brazil's defamation laws must be very strict, right? Because there's no way you could work that in the U.S. There's no way. I mean, Pedro for one isn't a WSL surfer, right? I mean, I guess he competes in WSL events in time to time, but you couldn't pop him for defamation for saying the judges are racist here.
Yeah.
So Brazil must be easy to do that.
Yeah. I am generally not anti-WSL, but anti, like I said, those bureaucratic rules kind of then influencing the way that we discuss surfing as a culture. And I definitely like freedom of speech. But in this instance, I do side with the WSL. It's like if their judges are operating under a set of rules that are designed without any biases, certainly not racial biases, and they're just doing their job, then it is egregious for somebody to, again, not just to call him out, but with the amount of social influence that he has to make a claim like that, I think is, wrong.
I mean, okay, but other hand here, it's a Brazilian complaining about judges. Like this is a par for the course. I don't know, maybe they're worried that it would hurt their image in Brazil. But it's just like a Brazilian complaining about judges is the same thing about like getting mad at rain because it's wet, right? It just is what it is.
I don't know. The way that Gabriel has done it in the past, I mean, and we've criticized the way that Gabriel's done it in the past as well, but I feel like there's times where the person making the argument, I feel like, has a claim to be made. And especially if they're the ones surfing in the event. With this, to say the judges have a motive and that motive is based on skin color is a different argument.
I hear you. But again, it's a Brazilian complaining.
Which, by the way, more Brazilians have won world titles in the last 10 or 12 years than anybody else. I mean, if you're going to go by nation state. So it's a crazy argument to make, to think that the judges are biased against Brazilians who have won the most titles, heats, events, all of it.
I mean, that's why it's just all wacky, right? It's wacky Brazil stuff where, and I guess the WSL can't just chalk it up to wacky Brazil stuff, but I feel threatening a lawsuit, if I was the World Surf League, if I was in charge of the World Surf League and said, okay, we have two kind of bad situations here. The one bad situation is that a Brazilian called us racist in our judging. The other bad situation, or okay, so how do we respond, right? A bad situation would be to look draconian, to look like you're going to take somebody to court for speaking their mind, right? I would prefer to let the Brazilian complain in peace rather than to appear like a draconian, strong arm. Because it was not just, hey, you can't surf in WSL or big wave stuff anymore, Pedro, Scooby. Like, that was wrong, and so you're banned for 3 years or whatever it is. But the image of the league taking him to court, I feel, flips it into a kind of David Goliath thing, which that's not great for the WSL.
No, but that's why I feel like in this instance, they did it right. They didn't file the suit. They didn't take him to court. They just made a public statement that this is not okay. A line was crossed. We are willing to let you make amends. And it's
for sure. Yeah. I mean, the fact that they settled, if they would have been, and maybe that was the goal all along, obviously, is we're going to flash potential something that you don't want to deal with and then just make you come right.
Yeah. Well, moving on. John Florence smokes fools in the Florence Pipe Pro. I know you're not watching, but did you watch his heat?
Nope.
Dude, he shows up, first wave, 9 point. I think it was like a high 8.
Yeah.
Second wave, another 8. Within minutes, actually, they must have been high 8s or 9s because within minutes, he had 18 point something heat total, and everybody else is just sitting there like twiddling their thumbs.
I mean, I should be watching just because John Florence, I feel, is one of those things, one of those once in a generational talents, right? Where that phrase gets bandied about way too much. But that he is so good and we all kind of take him for granted.
It was unreal.
Yeah.
When I said he smoked fools, everybody else looked like a fool.
Who was he in the heat with? Which fools were he smoking?
I don't even remember. Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, there was a couple of names.
Wesley Dantes.
No, I'm apprehensive to say because I can't remember if they were in his heat specifically or not. But there was other big names in the event for sure, in the heats prior and the heats after. Baron Mamiya, Koa Smith, Tyler.
Is it over?
No, it's still running.
Okay.
I don't know if it's running right now or not, but John just is that much better than all of them. It was a clear separation.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Yeah. Who is more impressive? Peak vintage Kelly Slater or peak John Florence?
Kelly.
Really?
Yeah. Because Kelly was head and shoulders above everyone in every scenario. Like big barreling waves, small tiny waves, going left, going right. I feel like with John, there's people who are comparable. Like you could take Gabriel Medina in barreling lefts and put him against John, and it's almost equivalent. You get small waves, you put Felipe next to him, and there's an equivalence. You get somebody good at airs with John, there's an equivalency there. Nobody's as well-rounded as John, but Kelly was like an alien coming from 2 decades ahead of everyone else.
Okay, you're
back
right.
in time,
You're right.
When you think about who he started on tour with, it was Barton Lynch, Derek Ho. It was like Kelly was so in a different class than that style of surfing at that time. Whereas John, he's got some peers. He's just the most complete package.
Yeah.
But I had another thought, which is John beating everybody, kind of no surprise at Pipe. But the name, his name is becoming synonymous with the break. So we've had others come and dominate pipe for a couple of years at a time. You could point at Jamie O'Brien. You could point at a couple of certainly Jerry Lopez, Mr. Pipeline for a long period of time. But none of them has sponsored the event and does commentary with their brothers at the event. Like he's fully wrapped up Pipeline currently.
That's a good call. He put the Florence stamp hard on Pipeline.
He is branding the spot.
Man, I wonder, do you think that, who's the organization that dubbed Jerry Lopez Mr. Pipeline? And are they meeting in a dark back room right now, wondering if it's time, just like, Prince Andrew, nothing lasts forever, right? He's no longer Prince Andrew. I mean, can they go to Jerry Lopez and say, Jerry, number one, you're a snowboarder now. Number two, you make soft tops. We have to take the Mr. away. Sorry, John Florence is Mr. Pipeline.
A case could be made.
Yeah.
Now, I would say no. In general, I would say no to that question, except a lesser known fact is that Jerry wasn't the first Mr. Pipeline. Yeah. Somebody else had the title stripped from them, and that was Butch Van Aertstalen.
So that means there is a committee. There is a secret committee that gets together and has power over Mr. Just like when it comes to Pipeline. Just exactly like King Charles has power over Prince.
Exactly. So Butch Van Aertstalen was riding longboards, and in magazines was referred to as Mr. Pipeline. Jerry's is the next generation, where it's much smaller boards, obviously more designed specifically for that wave, rather than bringing a board from Southern California designed for mushy Dana Point and then trying to ride it at Pipeline. Jerry's boards were designed for that wave, and then he dominated it in that era, which is when the sport and the spot and even Hawaii, the North Shore, really blew up. So he just his mantle was just a larger mantle, basically. But you could make the argument still today, or now again today, that it's at a whole different level than it was then, and John reigns supreme.
What is the time between Butch and Jerry?
10 years.
Okay, so Jerry's held on to this for a long time. Jerry's held on to this a lot longer.
He's held on to the title, but he hasn't held on to the status in the pecking order out there. I mean, I'm sure if he paddled out, they would give that to him, but he's not out there on every swell like he was in the 70s.
Man, okay, well, I wouldn't want to be part of that committee, but if I was, I would think I would press that it's time to remove Mr. from Jerry. He can just be Pipeline.
Well, as with any committee, there's lobbying bodies behind the scenes, positioning for power. And I think John is moving each of those chess pieces very strategically by creating a brand that would then sponsor the event, by the commentary being pretty lame. So him having a media savvy brother doing his own pirate stream commentary, to the point to where then 2 years later, when he's sponsoring the event, it's like, well, now we could just do the commentary ourselves in addition to.
Smart. That John, who would ever thunk? He's really tricky, that John Florence. You don't look at that face. You don't look at the way he walks or talks and think savvy. That dude is savvy. But that dude is savvy.
You want to know what his savviest move has been?
What?
Surrounding himself with people who are savvier than he in certain aspects.
Florence is wildly successful, obviously because of him, but also look who's back there helping out, running. You got Bob Hurley. You got Pat O'Connell.
Yeah, the whole Hurley and the Hurley boys, the family. I think they all have skill sets that are kind of best in class. And one of their, maybe Bob specifically, one of his skill sets is identifying talent and empowering them to focus on their singular talent. And so plucking John at a certain point and really allowing him to do his thing, and then carrying it into this current phase that he's doing it. And then John having the same ability to be like, okay, well, I'll focus on that and I'll empower you guys to do what you guys do. It's a very, very synchronistic and I think successful multi-way relationship.
The future is Florence.
The future of Pipeline is Florence.
Yeah, Mr. Pipeline.
And John or Nathan's contributions at the break, Ivan's contributions at the break. It's kind of like the sum is the total is greater than the sum of its parts.
You got it.
Does that sound right?
Boom.
So bravo to Florence clan. Now, another kind of a sharp pivot here. Beach Grid headline, quote, self-proclaimed surf star Kareem, is it Blair?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
It says Blair, but I feel like that just auto-corrected because that's not the name that I remember. Anyways, I'll look it up. Is accused of rape, torture, and acts of barbarism against partner and kids.
Yikes.
I know. My first thought here was like, I'm so far behind on surfing because here we have a, quote, surf star whose name I'm not even familiar with. And then it turns out I am not behind anything. The guy was a full-on con man and not a surf star. He was just a self-proclaimed. But Derek, I think, wrote this piece, but he starts off telling about this instance where this guy paddled out at Nazare on like a 9.6 on a tow day. And the other people in the water, Garrett McNamara, whoever, were looking like, who is this guy? This guy's insane, you know? Turns out he was insane, not technically, but he was crazy. And on equipment, he was on the wrong equipment. He had no idea what he was doing. But he was basically just trying to build a profile and claiming to be a professional surfer. And once he did get to a certain level of esteem where the national news is talking about him, he wrote a book, biography, then stories start coming out about his past. And it turns out some of the footage that he had used to promote himself was actually footage of Justine Dupont.
Amazing. That was my favorite. I mean, this is a sad story, but that was my favorite bit of a sad story.
Well,
Very funny.
I agree with you. I like this story. I'm like, this is my favorite story of the week, even though it's a horrific story. The reason I like it is when somebody is pulling a fast one and then they get outed by everyone. That's why it's my favorite.
The related to this, right? Like, you're pulling a fast one, you're pulling your fast one, and if you really take off, your story starts to really get national, and international exposure. At what point do you think, uh-oh, I went too far because now it's too big and now for sure I'm going to get found out? There's no way. Or are you just so narcissistic or wrapped up in it that you think, I'm going to beat this game every time. I'm going to slide a hand. Nobody's going to ever know.
I think true narcissists charge ahead.
Yeah.
I think, the best example is our sitting president.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm just never going to apologize. I mean, write a book called The Art of the Deal. A failed businessman writing a book called The Art of the Deal. And then it's like, if I can get enough people to believe this, I can just use this as the stepping stone for all belief in the future. Even though it's entirely false, the initial kind of stepping stone. And so once enough, there's a critical mass that believe the thing, it all becomes truth in the public's eye.
I mean, I suppose to Trump's credit, he is so good at that, where you see people who are not so good, like George Santos or Kareem Blair, whatever his name is, right? Like, just put their foot in it, like, oops.
Well, they're not true narcissists, I think, then, because if you fully believe it, I mean, it's the degree to which you then believe it or give up, I think, is where the house of cards falls.
I mean, I guess you got the bluster of pushing even louder and prouder through all of this stuff. But yeah, what was with Kareem? What were the actual incidents of quote unquote torture? I mean, rape, obviously, but was he like he whipped his kids with electrical cords or something like that?
So, Brary is his last name. So the title I read earlier did autocorrect. It looks like his name's actually Brary. So maybe not pronounced correctly either. From December 10th to the 17th, which is just the last couple of days, he stood trial on charges of rape accompanied by torture or acts of barbarism against his former partner, habitual violence against her, acts of torture and barbarism, and violence against their 3 minor children aged 4, 10, and 15. I guess I didn't copy and paste the part that you're asking about.
I don't know.
So what the story said was he was in his family. They were in Morocco during COVID or whatever, and they were separated for a period of time. And by the time his wife and kids made it back to where he was, he held them in the basement for a number of days with limited access to food and water. And the wife said, and there was beatings involved as well. And then when she finally got out, I don't know if she escaped or if he eventually let her go, she collected the kids and disappeared in the middle of the night. And then she brought these charges.
Man, brave always. These stories are obviously heart sickening, but man, tip of the cap to the abused wife who figures out how to get the kids and get out, because that ain't easy.
No. I mean, I think they say it takes 7 times.
Yeah.
They've run statistics and they're like, it takes 7 times of trying to escape an abuser until they eventually are able to do it successfully. Man. Because the violence increases the closer you get to separation. So if he's just beating her occasionally and then she tries to take a major action of leaving, he's going to then beat her harder and more frequently, which is just terrifying. But anyways, the trial ended yesterday. Deliberations begin today. And then he's been in jail actually for this since September 2022, faces up to 20 years of imprisonment if convicted on the most severe counts.
Well, if he did it, hopefully he gets put away for that whole time.
Yeah, no, he seems terrible. The best headline of the week, breaking: Kelly Slater 54 to come out of retirement for the 28th consecutive year! ! Did you write that or did Derek?
Derek.
There's no real story here other than Kelly might compete if he's feeling healthy at the backdoor Dahui shootout. And then I think another event too, but I'm all for it. Kelly, I would love to have Kelly have wild cards into pipe events and maybe cloud break events too for as long as he is able until he's riding a bodyboard.
Yeah. Kelly should Mike Stewart it up out there.
Absolutely. The other thing that we have to acknowledge, because we haven't we did on Monday on Noble Rot, but not on the grid, is the Bondi Beach mass shooting, which can't even try to put it into words or the grief. It's horrific, but it also, I think, created 2 of the best examples of heroism that I've ever seen in my life. And I know we've all seen the video of Ahmed Al-Ahmed, who tackled the shooter and wrestled the gun away from him. But did you see the other video that's coming out with the other shooter and the attempts to tackle? So this was crazy. And I just saw this in the last day or two, and it ended actually more tragically, but there was a couple, Boris and Sophia Gurman, both in their 60s, and they were celebrating a major anniversary next month in January. I forget if it was a 40-year wedding anniversary or what, but there's a car driving down the road that happened to have a dash cam. So the footage is moving with the pace of the car, but they slow it down and you can see entering into the frame, Boris tackles the gunman, but doesn't get the gun away from him. And he kind of, Boris being in his 60s, kind of falls down while the gunman remains standing. Then his wife, Sophia, comes in and tries to tackle the gunman, completely. Like the husband kind of disabled him a little bit. So the wife comes in to try to finish the job and take the gunman down. And the camera continues moving and you just see the scuffle, kind of people falling. And the camera goes on. What ends up happening with, that isn't recording is that the gunman maintains his position and then ends up shooting both of them. But the idea of an elderly couple in their 60s seeing this mass shooting and trying to tackle the gunman is unbelievable.
I mean, and obviously there's no silver linings. This is just an abject tragedy, 100% across the board. But a takeaway for me always when this stuff happens is put it in your heart to be that person, right? Because I don't think that comes naturally. Like, I think it's something that you have to think about and something you have to will before you're ever in that. Hopefully none of this will ever be in a situation like that. But if you are, to have already thought about it and already be like, I'm going to be the one who acts. I'm going to be the one who goes for it, right?
I can't even imagine. I mean, if what you're saying, I would love to even think, what are action steps to even put yourself into the position to be ready for it? Like, what do you do right now to mentally train to be in that position? You know?
Well, I wonder, part of it, I think, would be, which would just be good for life in general, is staying somewhat physically fit and mentally acute, right? Like to be, not just let yourself go so far that if you're ever needed to jump into action, that you can't because you're physically can't, right?
Yeah.
Because you're lazy.
I can abide by that. So then the moment of gunshots start cracking in a public space, every human instinct would be
Run.
identifying where the sound is and then running in the opposite direction and protecting your loved ones that are with you. The idea of then looking to see the source and moving in towards it is nothing short of heroic.
Absolutely. Well, to assess that, because these people, I mean, yeah, like especially the first guy who hid Ahmed, was that his name?
Yeah, Ahmed. Oh, Ahmed.
Yeah. So him to see the guy shooting and then make a game plan of how to get it, right? It's not like he ran straight at him and just got shot too, right? He figured out, and I'm sure the elderly couple must have seen a sliver of opportunity, or the dude must have seen a sliver of opportunity to take his chance, right? Yeah. And so to be aware and think, this is my opportunity, and to go for it, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
There was another story that I read. Reuben Morrison, 62, also killed when physically confronting one of the gunmen. According to his daughter, he was throwing bricks at the terrorist. So apparently saw this, was within, throwing range and happened to have bricks nearby and just started trying to take him out with a brick, which is also incredible.
Derek Riley was in Bondi, lives in Bondi, but was in Bondi, heard the gunshots and went sprinting down to try to help out. Didn't know what was going on, but yeah, I think he got there and it was just mayhem and chaos, and then it ended soon after. But he saw the carnage firsthand, saw people laid out on the street.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does he know any of the people who were killed?
I don't know if he knows any personally. He said that when he went running down, there was a woman in a yellow dress who was like laid out on a picnic bench, clearly dead. And then he saw video later of her at the event itself before it all started, and he was like, it's hard, rough to see somebody alive, and then when you've just seen them dead.
It's horrific, man.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, thoughts, prayers, I don't know what even to say, but we're obviously with all of anybody who's experiencing any of the loss related to the tragedy. Terrible. Is there any way to segue into Don't Say Gay?
Yes, it's exactly what the people need. A moment of levity.
All right. Well, this one maybe isn't a Don't Say Gay exactly, but he said, you guys barrel or nod the word sick the other day. So maybe this isn't a DSG, but what about anytime you see a shaper posting new boards or somebody who's getting a new board, the default word that they use is, quote, Freshie. Something about it makes my skin crawl. Even saying it now is making me angry. That said, I can't think of a suitable, catchy replacement phrase. Quote, I got a new board is accurate, but it doesn't deliver any of the excitement with it. But I don't really have but I don't have to think of a new term. That's your job. Don't say Freshies. Is it one of those where, oh yeah, don't say Freshies.
Okay, so here we go. Got thoughts on this one. Freshie, I'm going to say, is okay for our Australian brothers and sisters, right? This is an Australianism. They like to do this with every word. The annoying part of Freshie, what I think our dear listener is taking issue with, is anytime Americans sprinkle in a little bit of Australian slang, it always is cringe and dumb, right? Like, Australians have their slang for a reason. It's theirs. Don't pretend. So this segment could be called Don't Pretend You're Australian if you're an American and or something else, right? So that's the issue with Freshie. So as an American, I'm sorry, not as catchy, not as neat, not as nifty. We are not as catchy and neat as nifty as Australians. It just is what it is. So you say, this is a fresh board. This is a new board. I just got a brand new board. Those are your options here, not Freshie. Sorry, Americans.
Even when I understand that's the origins of Freshie and that's how it's become part of the surf lexicon currently, but I think it's tired.
You think it's tired?
I think it's tired. Yeah, I think it's all like if I see it now, I kind of agree. It doesn't make my skin crawl, but it's kind of like I think it's time to replace it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to let Australians figure their own thing out, right? I can't speak to their adding IE to everything because this is a bigger conversation, right? The diminutive shortening of every single word, we could argue that that's kind of silly. You know, I said it was nifty and snazzy earlier, but I could very well make the argument that it's infantile and stupid.
Yeah.
So
I think though with specific to Freshies, it's ubiquitous.
Yeah.
It's like every shaper who does post a new board refers to them as Freshies. There's no variation. You know, nifty and jazzy or snazzy are used interchangeably, and you hear some of people using one more than the other or whatever, but there's multiple words to use and they're all equally good. Freshies is just has dominance for this one thing. But you don't hear it. You don't hear it when people talk about, if you follow a chef on Instagram and they create a new dish, they don't refer to it as a Freshie.
Yeah.
Or if any other production of anything, for some reason it's specific to surfboards.
You don't go buy a new car and say, I just got a Freshie.
Right. I mean, maybe do tennis shoe sneakerheads call them Freshies?
Maybe. I could see that happening in sneakerhead world.
But it's not as dominant as it is in surfboard.
No. Well, and so here's the thing though. So the dominance in surfboards, okay, backing up a little bit. Now I agree with you. It needs to get retired because it is tired because we've abused it. It's not necessarily Freshie's fault, the word. It's not Australians' fault. It is surfboard shapers. You got a nice new toy and you wrecked it. You don't get to play with it anymore. Taking it away. So if you want to be snazzy and nifty and neat when posting a board, I suppose they're bored. They're tired of just saying, this is a new board, this is a fresh board, something like that. So we got to give them something here, David Lee Scales. They can say, what do we call, like when you get a new car, is there any specific thing you call your new car? You just say, I got a new car. What do you say? You say, I
don't think it happens often enough to come up with a phrase for it.
When you get a new suit, you just say new. I got a new suit. I got a new everything.
I'm looking up synonyms for fresh. Synonyms? Crisp? I kind of like crisp because boards do feel crisp.
That would it would turn to crispy and then it would get abused instantly. It would be like abused overnight.
Yeah, that's true. Newfangled.
Newfangled, though, is not what people are, because you could get a new longboard. That's not newfangled.
Okay. Radical, revolutionary, offbeat, unorthodox. No.
I got a
raw, callow.
Oh, maybe raw. Hasn't been seasoned yet.
Use it in a sentence.
Oh man, I've had my order in forever, and I finally got my raw board.
There may be something there. What about
nude? What do we call babies?
Infantile.
But that's somebody acting childlike. You could say I got a. You could say I got a baby.
Tot. Neonate.
But you'd have to throw the word new in front of it, which is already, because you don't have to have a new Freshie, right? That's redundant. It's just a Freshie. So this word needs to stand alone without new.
It's now making sense why Frenchie or Freshie came into such favor.
That's basically the only way. But just don't say Freshie. Just say this is a new board.
I agree. Like, I'd rather say a new batch of customs.
Yeah. New batch of customs.
I got my new board. Yeah. I think it's okay to be literal and a little less succinct with this one.
It gives you more room elsewhere to be splashy and snazzy also, right? your vocabulary or your writing is always peppered with flash and snaz, then it dumbs it all down, right? So using new quiver, new board, whatever as a shaper allows you room to say something witty later.
Okay. All right. I don't feel like we did our best work in addressing that one, but we're getting to something important here.
We did some
we
work.
might have to. Yeah, we did some work, and we might have to come back and complete it later. Often with listener help. So feel free to reach out. Okay, let's go to commercial break, and we'll come back with some barrel or Nas. All right, Chaz, welcome back.
Yes.
It looks like these are all Christmas, kind of New Year's related barrel or Nas this week. There's 2 from listeners and 1 from me. We'll start with the listeners. Caviar. I'm sure you pretentious dingleberries are barrel, but plead your case. I want to like it. It's been years since I've tried it, and it's always been in some version that is probably low quality, like a holiday party or just a dollop on a dish in a restaurant. But since you've been running Quince ads, I now get fed their ads on Instagram, and they are advertising Caviar. I'm tempted, but I don't want to hate you for making me spend $125 on something that's going to end up in the trash. So here's your one shot. Barrel or nah? Caviar.
It's the biggest barrel. Caviar, I think I could argue, is the best single food on the face of the earth. I think I could make that argument, that it's the best taste, and or there's nothing, I'll back up a little more. There's nothing that I would take over a little piece of rye bread, or what's the proper vessel?
Bellini.
The Bellini with some
But
creme fraiche.
Just quick distinction, not Bellini, Bellini is the drink.
Yeah, Bellini.
Bellini, which is just Blini, is
Russian.
the...
Yeah. So Bellini, creme fraiche, onion, and high-grade caviar is the best taste on earth. David Lee Scales.
Now, plead your case, though. Explain why it's the best. Why is it the best to you?
Okay,
if you can.
The complexity of a caviar. Like caviar is, and I don't know the age of dear listener, but as we age, we've talked about this, your taste buds get grosser and grosser, right? Like I love anchovies now. I love things that would have tasted, I like black coffee. I like bourbon. I like a bunch of food and drink.
Blue cheese,
and the bluer and, bitier, the better. On and on and on and on. And that's, yes, a product of aging. I think probably a product of your taste buds rotting, but it's also that's what good taste is, right? That is universally accepted good taste. Like a Jameson and 7-Up or a 7 and 7, right? Did you ever have a 7 and 7?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So a 7 and 7, sweet as syrup, nobody considers that good taste. What good taste is 45-year-old, malt, single, whatever, cask, whiskey, blah, 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 that tastes, if you just tasted it, kind of like burnt hell.
I want to taste decay.
Yeah, exactly. So all to say, that is the mark of high taste. Caviar is near the top of that ladder. A good caviar, right? In terms of its hard, fishy, how do I describe it? It's a gnarly taste. And somehow it is so good, especially, and the Russians probably figured this out, right? With the blini, because I think blini is Russian. With the blend, Russians obviously love their sturgeon caviar. But with the blini, the onion, the creme fraiche, and the caviar, that combo cannot be beat. With the rock and roll of the caviar and the real subtle, good flavor and texture of the other parts of that stack. But that's how you do it. Also, caviar, phenomenal on what? Like a fancy Eggs Benedict, where there's a dollop of caviar on top, or when it can get those fancy foods that you get a dollop of caviar, bam, it takes that thing from 10 to 100.
Well, I agree.
You got to get good caviar.
Yeah.
Bad caviar is not worth wasting any time on. Don't get the $30 caviar. Get the $70 caviar, because that $70 caviar is way more than $40 better than the $30 caviar.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think you can get it for $70. I think even the $70 stuff probably is. Maybe they do American caviar.
You can get like those real small tins.
Yeah,
I think you can find those every now and again.
Probably American farm raised sturgeon or something. But so I agree with you, Beryl. I will go further into my kind of gastronomical take on it, but I will also say I'd seen those Quince ads too on Instagram, but I never clicked on them. I went and searched after I got this notification or this email, and it's $125, but I think it's a 3-ounce tin, so it's like the size of a coaster, basically.
Yeah,
I'm like, for $125, that's the cheapest price I've seen, and it's Osetra, which is I think the highest rating.
Yeah,
it's definitely up there, one of the highest ratings. So I feel like if the listener is going to go for it, do it through Quince. It's listed for half the price of where you would find it elsewhere. I can almost guarantee the quality is good, even though I haven't ordered caviar from them before. And by the way, quince.com/surf to make this a proper commercial. So that's, like you said, quality matters, and the other thing is freshness matters with caviar. So if you go to your local grocery store and they don't sell it that frequently, you might end up buying something that's been on the shelf for 2 or 3 weeks, So you want to go somewhere that is actually moving caviar daily and that you're ending up with a good quality, because that is the problem. Is I think a lot of people's exposure to caviar is at a buffet. Maybe they're like, I never want to spend the money, but now I'm here at the buffet, I'll try it here. It's like, or at that holiday. Yeah. Or at that holiday party where it's the office Christmas party, and they're probably not going to buy the best quality, and then it's sitting out. It's probably not got the proper accoutrement with it, So definitely buy it direct, do it right. I think you're talking red onion. I would go even just the creme fraiche by itself. I don't need all the other stuff. The caviar bump is a classic. You put it on your hand, and the warmth. Yes, snort it. The caviar needs to be served ice cold, but you put it on your hand, and your hand warms it just enough to like get the aromatics going, and the flavors going. But my gastronomical take is, there's oysters I would put in this same classification. There's things of the sea that give you a precise flavor that only the sea can give you. And so if it does taste, people say this is fishy. That's because it's now been oxidized. It's been interacting with air, and it changes the effects and the flavors. But if you pull fish out of the ocean, cut straight into it, and eat sashimi on the boat, there's no fishiness to it, or the fishy quality in it is so pure from the ocean. There's no other way to manufacture that flavor. It is distinct and precise and of a space and a time. And that's what caviar is. It's like whatever fish that you've had that you've liked the flavor of that tuna because it was so fresh, this is that amplified times 5. And the same thing I was saying, oysters, the idea with an oyster is the brininess. It's a filter feeder. It filters all the flavors of the ocean, spits out all the junk, and gives you this perfect saline reflection of the space that it was raised in. So an oyster from Oregon is going to taste different than an oyster from North Carolina. And you want to be able to identify those differences, but they're precise, and nature did its job, and there's no other way to manufacture it. So caviar is the same thing. It's eggs from the belly of the fish. The fish did all of the filtering, all of the work to create this unbelievably pungent, reduced, like impactful flavor. And the only way to get it is through this. And so you want it to be super fresh and not influenced by anything other thing. And with other, like I think neutral flavors, like the Bellini is meant to be neutral. Creme fraiche meant to be pretty neutral. And they're adding textural elements to it, but you're not really trying to change the flavor that much. And that's the other thing, is the texture is part of the caviar experience too.
So good.
little explosive pops, like the smallest thing that you could put on your mouth and still identify, and then it explodes into like a firework of flavor.
The caviar, good history, good origin story, like all of it, everything that makes caviar caviar. Like if you are going to get into something, if you think, you know what, I'm going to be fussy about one thing, right? You could pick whiskey, you could pick oysters, you could pick cigars, you obviously, on down the line, wine, blah, 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 blah. Pick caviar, man. Like be a real caviar, know your caviars, be a caviar snub.
Well, as soon as we're done, I think I'm going to go to quince.com/surf.
Man, it's making me hungry for caviar.
What is your caviar pairing? Do you have a drink that you prefer with it?
Champagne.
Me too. Mm-hmm. The Russians will say vodka, and I know a lot of people do vodka.
I like that. I like vodka too. Like vodka neat, super cold neat, no vodka soda, no vodka, nothing. Yeah. Vodka, ice cold vodka neat is really good also.
Which might be the recommendation for our listener here, because if you want to neutralize some of the sensory elements for yourself to make it go down that much smoother, vodka will do that.
It will.
Vodka is like the numbing solution that the dentist puts on before they do the shot. So there you go. Okay, second one, also from a listener, noise canceling earbuds or headphones. Chaz, you made a gift recommendation last year or 2 years ago for some expensive Bose earbuds that also cancel noise. Everything you advertised was accurate, and I was pretty amazed by them. But over the course of the past year, I have to accept life was better prior. When they are in, I can't hear if my dog is rummaging. My wife comes in the office irate because she's been asking me the same question for 5 minutes without me acknowledging her. And I don't dare use them on dog walks or runs for fear of not hearing an approaching vehicle or an assailant. In an effort to create a sound bath bubble, I've handicapped myself in all other meaningful senses. Have you experienced the same thing? And importantly, for all other listeners, are noise-canceling ear devices barrel or not?
Okay, so, wow. Yes, dear listener, over the past couple years with noise-canceling headphones, I have experienced that. Like, there's a very specific time and place for them, which is basically only the airplane on a transatlantic flight. That is and so if there's only one time and place for these things, they're no barrel. Like he's exactly right. In every other case, you can't. So the fact that noise canceling headphones also, they don't just cancel noise by themselves. They have to be battery powered, right? Or charged or something. So there's some extra step, and that means they get uncharged. And so you're going to have them and be bummed at something. Like I got enough charging going on in my life between my computer and my phone. I don't need a third thing I have to constantly wonder, is that plugged in? Right? Like too much. So there's that and then everything else listed, from not being able to run with them, from like, why do you need to just be in a cone of silence in your home? I mean, I suppose the other place that a noise canceling headphone could be would be appropriate is if you live like in a, first story or first floor of a crazy big city, Manhattan apartment building, and it's just such a racket all the time outside that the only way to basically survive is through canceling some of that noise out. So I'm sure there's other places like that, but if you are a normal person living a relatively normal life, the annoyance far outweighs the benefit of a noise canceling headphone.
It's another example of where we thought this technology was going to be this luxury.
Yeah.
And it's proved like it's actually degrading your human senses that took eons for us to hone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, I thought it would be a universal solution. Like, this is the way forward. It will all be noise canceling, everything. But it's like, nope. It's like you said, a very specific slice of life where you can use it and appreciate it, but it's definitely not universal.
No.
And I've gone back to using wired plug-in because, especially running, if it's not wired, it's going to fall out of my ear. I mean, even if it's wired, it's going to fall out of my ear, but at least I don't have to go find it once it falls out.
That's true. But the Bose ones I have now, they're earbuds that go around. How do they work again? I haven't run in so long, I forgot. But those ones are great because I don't think that those are not noise canceling.
They hook around your ear?
Yeah. No, sorry. It hooks like a ear cuff.
Oh.
So it hooks right there. They don't fall out ever when you're running. They don't cancel noise. Those are the go. The ear cuff Bose.
By the way, yesterday, I can't reach it, otherwise I'd show you on camera. I got a package from Surfer's Ears, or Surf Ears, the new 3.0 or whatever the newest one is.
The Epic?
Yeah, I didn't ask for them. I don't know how they got my address. It showed up at my house. I was like, what is this? And I opened it up, and there's no note inside, nobody's name attached to it or anything, just a Christmas gift.
Well, thanks. Surf Ears are epic. Surf Ear, if you're listening to this, I need a pair of Surf Ear.
Well, I did, of course, try them on. They fit for something that isn't. This actually has a tether, like it has a leash that connects the one to the other, and you could attach it so that if they do fall out, you don't lose them. But they don't fall out. I was like, I put it in my ear, and I'm like, this is the best. This is a more ingenious design than any earbud I've ever owned.
It's a phenomenal product. Surf Ear makes
it really
a phenomenal product.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. I'm actually inclined to use them.
Yeah.
So thank you, whoever sent those Surf Ears. Much love. Final Barrel or Gnaw is my own, but it's I'm trying to figure out where the stop point is for giving gifts to the people in our lives.
Yeah.
Obviously, you give gifts to family. So I think I might have found the stop point, but I'm going to run it past you. And that is the mailman. Barrel or Gnaw giving gifts to the mailman for Christmas. I have to give gifts to my neighbors. Like, basically, the list is grown, but I can justify the length. It's like the neighbors, I'm cool with. My kid's teacher, essential. Like, I feel like she deserves a gift more than a lot of the people I'm giving gifts to. But there was a time when I was young where you'd like put a bottle of whiskey in the mailbox, and then the mailman would put your mail in and take the whiskey out and like give you a little thanks. I don't feel any obligation to my mailman anymore.
Well, okay. Couple questions for you. This. Do you have the same mailman?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say you got to give him a gift. I'm going to say you are putting your future. This dude is bringing, less and less, I suppose, but essential things, right, to you.
If my
get
mail,
nothing essential through the USPO.
Only since Amazon has been using them as a third-party deliverer. But aside from what comes from Amazon through USPS, I could go 3 years without receiving mail from the United States Postal Service and not miss a thing.
Okay, well, here's another angle then. Who needs a gift more than anyone now is the postal worker who's on the chopping block any day now. The whole U.S. Postal Service is going to get disbanded. All of them are going to get fired. What are they going to do? They're going to go slave for Amazon.
Well, following that logic, also somebody whose respect in our lifetime has dwindled. Like, they used to be among the most venerated, right alongside school teachers maybe, or right one rung below school teachers.
Yeah.
And now, no respect, and still a very arduous job, especially if they're doing the walking portion of it. Not slain, nor read, nor
rarely resting.
Yeah.
No, so, I'm gonna say the mailman deserves a gift this year. Maybe not every year, but mail carriers, down and out. They need to be buoyed.
Well, I think they also probably felt a sense of pride when they were delivering essentials. Essential information that we couldn't live without, whether it was bills or paychecks or whatever. And then now all of that has gone away out of their daily delivery, and it's been replaced by junk mail. So they're like, all I'm doing is delivering junk, and I'm walking, and I'm 15 years into this career. I can't give up now. I have to see it through to the bitter end, and another Amazon truck blows past them with exhaust fumes in their face.
That's exactly it. 6 out of 7 days I go to the mailbox, I go straight from the mailbox to the recycling bin.
Yes.
Like, I don't stop at home. There's no stop. I just go take the junk that got delivered. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Dude who used to be venerated, or woman who used to be venerated, now delivering junk, getting roasted by Amazon drivers who are like, and they can at least look at the Amazon driver and say, at least I'm not that yet. But they know in the back of their heart that there for them, right? It's not like the Amazon driver is superior. That Amazon driver is racing so fast because Jeff Bezos, the richest man on earth, has a quota that poor dude needs to fill, or else his kids are going to starve that night, right?
Totally.
And with zero benefits, with zero safety net, with nothing. At least the postman woman at this point has, probably a retirement and all that stuff. They're federal employees. But man, having to stare at an Amazon driver and think that's where I'm going to end up a slave for Jeff Bezos doesn't sound cool.
So what is the appropriate gift? I don't think you can gift booze anymore.
I'm going to say a $25 gift card to the grocery
Amazon?
store. That's funny. That would be pretty funny.
Yeah, okay, $25 gift card.
To $25 gift card I feel is good. It's in your mailbox, fits in the mailbox, right? Just thanks for your service. Whatever.
How about cash?
Cash I think would get you on the mailman's radar of something illegal is going on here. Okay. I think people who deal in cash are doing shady stuff these days.
Okay. $25 gift card to somewhere. Maybe a Visa card or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like it. I'm all for this. I did a 180 with this one actually.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm going to say not every year. But the mailman this year, next year the mailman might not be here. But this year.
The other thought, I saw this on the internet this week, and I think I verified that it is truth, is that you can actually thank your Amazon driver. You could tip your Amazon driver $5 and Amazon pays the tip for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You go into, after a delivery, you go into the search function on Amazon and just say, thank my driver. Or you can even do it through Alexa. Alexa, thank my driver or whatever. And it'll pull up, when you type that in and click search, it'll pull up your most recent order. And it says, gives you a little prompt like, were you happy with this delivery? Satisfactory? Would you like to tip your driver? And you say, yes. And it apparently contributes $5 towards their paycheck, and Amazon pays it. You don't pay anything.
Wow. I love this. Way to bring this to light. If this is actually true, everyone should be doing this.
Well, I did it on the most recent. We order so much Amazon stuff. I hate to admit that it's like, I need to make this a habit, but I did it that day. And it worked and it all went through. Like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then right now I just Googled it while we were talking. And sure enough, it's like news outlets are reporting it.
Okay, great.
So can't hate Bezos for that one.
Nope. Bezos, thank you for giving your slaves a $5 tip.
Dude, I mean, if they're doing 100, 200 deliveries a day, it's a $500 or $1,000 bonus every day. That'd be huge.
Epic.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, everybody. That was the grit for December 18th. 1 week from today, I think it is Christmas. So
is it? I was trying to figure this out. So Christmas is on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Christmas is on Thursday next week.
We recorded Thursday today, but so that means we can just record at normal time, day after Christmas.
Friday next week, Boxing Day.
Great, Boxing Day.
Austin has the little calendar. Not an advent calendar, but it's a little thing that says how many days until Christmas, and you swap out the numbers every day and put them in they're like little Scrabble tiles basically. And that's part of his chores. And so this morning there were 7 days left and he went and shuffled the numbers and he started to walk away, and I looked at it and it said 76. And I was like, what are you doing? Doesn't say 7 days left. And through his 4-year-old way of speaking, basically explains, yeah, but tomorrow there's going to be 6 days left. So all I'll have to do is take away a tile. So it's going to be less work.
Already cutting corners. Sweet. That's my boy.
I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to correct you. I like your way. Creative. It was thoughtful. All right, go with it. So 76 days till Christmas today.
Great.
But then I was like, wait, is that the thing that all these kids are saying?
6'7". That's what I was thinking you were going. I thought you were going to go 6'7".
Well, I was going to be blown away. If he did something 6'7", and it was because that cultural moment had somehow trickled down to a 4-year-old,
yeah,
I was going to have to just move off the grid.
Yeah. Wow. Good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing
Yeah.
it was just laziness.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good show. I guess Merry Christmas. Oh, no, I'll see you Monday on Noble Rot.
Yeah. But Merry Christmas to the Grit listener.
And Grit listener, if you want Noble Rot, which, by the way, I'm getting praise from people saying it's quickly becoming their favorite. So go
It's a
listen
fun
to
show.
Rot.
Go poke. If you haven't experienced yet, I think it's found its feet. It's funny. Often.
Yeah. It's a show not about surfing.
Yes.
All right, good show. Until next week.
It worked.